Hey, Brody Brodingers, also known as friends. How's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. I hope that you're doing well. So today we're talking tobacco. More specifically, a new fragrance from the house of Guerlain, Tobacco Honey, which is expensive. How expensive, you may ask? Well, this 100 milliliter size bottle right here, which looks really good, and we'll take a closer look at this here in a moment, is gonna run you about 380 doll hairs US, or dollars US. Ooh. So the question that we need to answer here today is this worth that price point, that near 400 bones price point? And that's what we're gonna try to tackle. I'll have this linked in the description below, so feel free to check it out down there. And also, here's a bunch of codes that you can use for fragrances that are, not the one we're talking about here today, but other fragrances. Looking for something different, maybe one of those codes help you out. First thing is first, as always, we're gonna take a peep, take a gander at this presentation and see what's going on with it. So here we have the box. It's simple, but it does feel nice. The quality is good. So you have the name of the fragrance, name of the house right there on the front, little Guerlain B as well. You have the Guerlain logo up top, nothing on the sides or the back. And then on the bottom, you have a sticker as a QR code, badge code, barcode, all the codes, the ingredients, the name of the fragrance, the size and concentration, which is Eau de Parfum 100 ml. Badge code is 3G02. It opens up like so, and then your bottle sits right in there. Why did that seem like it was hard to do? It's not difficult. Here we have the bottle. Bottle looks beautiful. Got the name of the house, name of the fragrance right there on the front. You have this little rope that goes around the base of the cap. You have the Guerlain logo on there as well, and also on top of the cap, and a gold plaque there. You have the little B on the back of the bottle, and then on the bottom you have your badge code etched into the glass, and the cap slides snugly into place. See? Snug. Let's bust out one of these. Not those ones, this one, and share a couple sprays. Here we go. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. So this is one of those circumstances where they're telling you right up front what you should expect from the fragrance, tobacco, and honey. And for me, again, being a sucker for this type of fragrance, tobacco fragrances, I see that and I think to myself, oh yeah, I gotta get that $380. I gotta get that anyway, I gotta do it. Tobacco fragrances can come in a bunch of different ways. A bunch of different facets can be prominent in tobacco fragrances. So you can have them be very dry, you can have them be pipe tobacco type scents, very fruity and sweet. You can have deep resinous ones that smell kind of like cigarette smoke or cigarette ash. A lot of different ways that this can be approached. So Tobacco Honey, how does it do the approach? Well, with this one, when I very first spray it on, I get a little bit of a blast of spice, like a fresh spiciness that has a touch of like a green bitter edge to it. It fades very quickly though, and mixing with those facets is the tobacco, this honey and tobacco. The tobacco is at times both like an actual tobacco leaf that's been dried out, and then also a little green on the edges. And then the sweetness doesn't come from a big blast of like dried fruits or anything like that. Instead here it is that honey, which is a little bit of a darker honey. It's not like a super candy-like, syrupy honey for me, and then vanilla. The tonka that's in here gives you a little bit of that almost, hay almond-like kind of warmth, and mixes together very well with that vanilla and with that honey. So you get this really interesting kind of green along the periphery tobacco that you may not even really key in on, and then that actual dried tobacco leaf that's sweetened up with that darker, rich honey, the vanilla that doesn't come across too powdery for me, maybe just a tiny touch, but definitely not anything that detracts from the fragrance, and then that tonka as well. As it dries down further, it still stays very rich and you get this woodiness that comes out. Not really what I would call like a dark woodiness, but it does have a touch of like a spicy tinge to it. And once again, you have that carryover of the tobacco leaf, that darker honey, the vanilla into the dry down as well, kind of melding with those woods. Now this has been compared to the smell of Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. I do think that Tobacco Vanille is much sweeter in like a high tinged sort of way. That almost syrupy, some people would say dried fruity kind of sweetness. Not that there's really any kind of fruity blast in Tobacco Vanille, but when you spray that one on, it's much more of like a bam, you know, very sweet right off the bat. Whereas this one is a little bit richer, bolder, heavier, a little darker as well. It's in the same family as Tobacco Vanille, but it doesn't smell like Tobacco Vanille. Other than they are both fragrances that are tobacco scents that are at their heart sweet tobacco scents. They just go about it in two different ways. And so because this is that type of fragrance, again, a sweet, warm tobacco, honey, vanilla type of scent profile, you may find a couple similarities here with other fragrances done in that style. But again, of the ones that I've smelled, it doesn't smell, I've said smell like 15 times now, just like those. It's definitely its own thing, but you could lump this into the style of, like I said, Tobacco Vanille, Zoologist B, the Blazing Mr. Sam from Penhaligon's, Herod to an extent by Parfums de Marly, things like that. Any of those scents, if you like those, then you will very likely enjoy this one also. Now, yeah, it's expensive, 380 bucks, obviously is a lot of money, but you do have good quality here. You can tell immediately when you spray this on that you've got some good stuff here. And then in terms of the projection, the longevity, it is strong. This stuff lasts a long time on my skin. It projects heavily. It outperforms Tobacco Vanille, and Tobacco Vanille has always been a fragrance that I think is quite powerful. At least for me, it's always projected heavily. It lasts a long time. It projects heavily, so this bottle should last you a long time. And it's that type of scent profile that, especially in fall and winter, people love. It smells awesome in the air, just absolutely fantastic. And it's one that I'm gonna wear a lot this coming winter. So the only possible detractions here for me would be the price point, again, quite expensive. And then it is a sweet, warm tobacco fragrance at the end of the day. I mean, it is different than the others, but it's done in that style. So if you're somebody who thinks that, you know, there's enough of those already on the market, they don't need another one, then this may not be for you. In terms of when you would use this, should be pretty obvious, but it's gonna be more fall and winter time. For me, more when it gets cold. So like toward the end of fall, you know, when it starts to really get chilly, because the beginning of fall, it's still pretty warm here, and I would be going for something else. But toward the end of fall, winter, it's gonna be considered by most people, what I imagine, as an evening fragrance. But like I've said, you know, over and over, I would wear it day or night, I don't really care. But anytime you have something that's got that, you know, warm, sexy, deep, rich kind of scent profile, a nice boldness to it, that gravitates more toward evening use for most people. So Tobacco Honey, for me, where would this be? Right up toward the top of this style of fragrance. I think that it is, as I said, richer, bolder, a little bit darker, not as syrupy sweet as Tobacco Vanille. I think as far as Herod goes, this has more of that dark sweetness to it than Herod does. You know, that honey obviously comes out very strong here, especially as it heads through the mid. But right up toward the top of this style of fragrance, one of the absolute best, easily, when you factor in quality, the versatility in cold weather, the mass appeal, again, in cold weather, the performance. Honestly, the look of the bottle is fantastic. That really goes for all of them in this line, though, to be fair. But yeah, just a great release if you enjoy tobacco fragrances, which I do. So there we go, Tobacco Honey. For me, big thumbs up. I would try to sample it first, obviously, considering the price tag. Even though I feel like if you enjoy fragrances in this style, that it's a pretty safe blind buy. Still, you know, $400, because after you factor in taxes and stuff, it's gonna crest 400. Absolutely sample first. That's gonna be the safest way to go. All right, that'll do it for me. Thank you guys for hanging with me. If you smelled it, let me know what you think about it. And let me know if you have smelled this, like where you would put this in relation to those other big name tobacco scents. Thank you guys, stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.